Hello and welcome to the first episode of Retro Teck. In this episode I'm benchmarking the Windows 98 gaming machine, which I will be using for the majority of games for the pre-2000 age period. So let's begin. The first game that I've benchmarked is Half-Life. Half-Life is still to this day one of my favourite games, and as you can see here I've quickly fast forwarded out. Skipped the intro part and just gone to where the resonance cascade happens, and majority of the time in the intro it stayed at 60 to 70 frames a second. However, you can see here where a lot more stuff is happening in the game, it does drop down to about 38-35 frames a second. The majority of the time though the game stays above the 40 to 50 FPS mark, making it more than playable on this machine. This is probably a CPU bottleneck more than the graphics card. The next game that I've got lined up is Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. This is another one of the games I had. You can see in this game it does drop down to about 30 frames a second quite often in the intro, because the intro is fully generated on the GPU. However, when actually then playing the game, I found it more than playable, so not an issue there. The next was then running a couple of benchmarks. The first was 3D Mark. You can see it drops to about 45 frames a second in the first test, and then to about 20 frames a second in the second, but it get a score of 4,449 3D marks. Then after that, I then tried the 3D Mark 2000 benchmark for the year after. This one took advantage of the graphics card being able to do direct 3D, and you can see in the first benchmark it even hits about 30 frames a second, and in the slightly more detailed run it averages between 30 and 40 frames a second. In total, the CPU and GPU together got 2,957 3D marks. And that's it for this episode. So this will be the machine. I've got a few games planned on this, so I'm going to be playing Command & Conquer on this machine, Half-Life on this machine, possibly Halo, Tomb Raider, and possibly some other games like Monopoly Tycoon and 3D Ultra Pinball. And that's it for this episode. Subscribe, support us, and we're planning to start launching gameplay videos by the end of the month.